The Unhappy Hour on TheNewAmericanMedia.com.
Broadcasting to you live from the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, California, Los Angeles, to be specific. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Unhappy Hour. It is an unhappy day here in Cleveland. Mighty Baker has struck out. 38-14 is the final. The Chargers really put a whooping on the Browns, and it started early, it continued, and it stayed a whooping the entire game. I mean, for a minute there, we got something going together at the end of the second quarter, but there were a lot of near misses. You can tell the injuries, the hole that Josh Gordon has left in the middle of this team. Something with Landry today. Either it was a scheme thing or, I don't know, and Baker hurting his ankle. There was a lot going on in this game, but the timing is not clicking for the Cleveland Browns. So the big question we have to ask ourselves is, were the Los Angeles Chargers really well prepared, really well coached, and did they execute nearly flawlessly today? Or did the Cleveland Browns not have their act together? And did we leave a lot of opportunities on the field? And so that's the question. I think it's a little of this and a little of that. We were definitely still right in this game most of the first half. 2 touchdowns. I mean, within inches. Long touchdown passes. Opportunities that were not converted by. One by Ratley, one by Callaway, I think. So there's a lot going on with this. Oh, Zach is over here on YouTube. Here, I'm going to say, what's up, Zach? Okay, youtube.com/TheNewAmericanMedia. If you can click over, we're going to try to bring people over to the YouTube live channel. Click subscribe, click the notifications thing. At some point, we're going to split the Unhappy Hour Sports away from the New American Media for news and current events. But for now, it's our central location. That's our main channel that we're broadcasting out of. All right. So Zach says he's going to check. Thank you for joining us in the Unhappy Hour Sports Show group. Appreciate it. Zach saying he's going to check. I think he's checking on. I think you're checking on the fantasy football real time, so I can quickly click around. I don't know which is going to be the best, but once we get it, we're gonna do this, because at this point, now that our team lost, let's look around at our fantasy league. At least maybe we can cheer about something today, right? I can't be the only one going through this. Brian Golenberg is saying it all started with your run defense and offensive line. We got gashed. There was a play with Myles Garrett early in the game. He came forward, hands up, came in. No, they avoided him completely, and the play was already around him. Myles Garrett has phenomenal skill, talent, ability, size, strength, speed. I think some of the game time reactions, I don't know how much of that you can coach. But I saw that play, and I knew that the Chargers had a good game plan together on how to handle what we were bringing to the table. So that's a moment that it's going to either strike me once again. Is it Myles Garrett lacking solid, strong technique? Is it because he's only a second year in the league? Or is it that the Chargers had a really good game plan together? Yeah, and then anyway, Brian, as far as offensive line, the offensive line, I mean, what were our running statistics? Let me look at the game stats over here, check out the full game score. I mean, geez. Our leading rusher was Duke Johnson with 36 yards on 2 carries. Chubb got 3 carries. Hyde got 14 for 34 yards. And this wasn't, I've seen lack of performance from running backs in many different ways. I've seen it where, the Trent Richardson, where there's a hole, but you don't have any awareness on the field, so you don't find where your opportunity was, or times that whoever you would have handed the ball to would have been smashed at that point. And there was a lot of that in this game. So I can't look at Hyde saying he's a problem there. Chubb had another good run or two. A long run of 19 yards. Finished with 3 carries. 25 yards. Maybe he should get some more carries. I mean, we were saying that before, but did he before? I don't know. Anyway, let me go to the comments over here on the YouTube channel. Thank you very much for joining us here. Daniel Vogan. See, I'm trying to see if I can vote up your comments. I don't know if I can over here. No, it also says report or remove or put a user in timeout. It's like, no, I want to say, hey, yes, I like that. Thumbs up. I don't know. I'm learning this. Daniel Vogan saying, I'll take that loss. Rivers is really good, and our D didn't show up. Our run D didn't show up. Ugh. We got schemed out there. The Chargers had a game plan, and they had some good packages put together. And they just kept going back to the same, do it right, try it left, run it, try to set the edge. We definitely saw that in the third quarter. It was, you've been leaning on them for a little bit. Third quarter, you just kind of got tired of holding that up. I think that's what happened. That leads me to say this, Daniel Vogan. I think I'm going to go through some of my notes because at least till I get up to that point about the run defense. I had some notes about that. Second half notes, I was saying there's an awesome tandem sack by Garrett and Schobert. They twisted. I don't know what you call it, twist, an X and out, whatever, a dart. But Garrett and Schobert kind of did one of these and got a sack in the third quarter on a really nice stunt. I'd like to see us doing more plays like that. I mean, I know that's the type of defense we want to have. I know Greg Williams wants us to be blitzing. But I haven't seen enough successful blitzing to be convinced that we've got it down yet. Because we're a different team. If we can just get a couple more hits on Phillip Rivers in key situations, some of these drives stall out and we get the ball back and, maybe we don't end up getting whooped like this. Anyway, another comment on Jabril Peppers. Dude, dropping a punt? We're not asking the world here. We're just asking that you don't drop the punt on special teams. If you can't do that, you shouldn't be back there. Third quarter went really wrong real quick. Baker Mayfield had a quick pick that was spun around into a quick touchdown on the other side to start the third quarter, and that was it. That was pretty much it right there. It was taken care of. It was handled. It was done. That was the end. You knew it. You knew it right there because we should have, once again, coulda, woulda, shoulda. Oh, we should be 5-0. Well, we're not. But in that first half, we had 2 touchdowns go through our wide receivers' hands. So close, so close. I'm hopeful that that's going to improve with time. Once we can settle on a lineup that's actually going to be there for a couple of weeks. We had Josh Gordon trying to come in. We had how many injuries now with Higgins, with Streeter? We just signed Brashard Perriman. Guess what? That guy's going to get some time right now. As soon as he gets the playbook, they're going to have him running routes ASAP. I promise you that. And we could use it. Maybe we need to sign another one of these guys. That's another question. Should we use some of our assets to try to go ahead and trade for a player? It's a good question to think about. I don't know. I don't know if we should. I don't know if we shouldn't. The Browns receivers were not getting open. And that's the question with Baker Mayfield. Did he get gun shy? Or were the Chargers secondary players not allowing any space in between? So Baker had nowhere to throw it. And that's why you saw him holding on to the ball longer. That's a good question. We're going to have to see how the tape grades out. Was it the Browns just not having a clue and not being on the same page and not being practiced up and not being used to being promoted from the practice squad to, from third stringer to starter? You're seeing that with the Browns wide receivers now with injuries, broken collarbones. Even Willie's stepped up strong last week. Then he's injured, breaks his collarbone. That's after Higgins rolls his knee. It's like these guys were sitting in a prime location ready to take over. So Callaway can continue developing, and so can Njoku, and Jarvis can start finding the right looks. I mean, Jarvis didn't do anything today. Once again, I got to see how this grades out, but was it because of a great game plan by the Chargers? Or is this because Jarvis wasn't trying hard? Or was this because Baker couldn't find him? Is this because Baker didn't want to find him? Let's see how it grades out. I don't know. I mean, when you're watching a game, there's only so much you have access to unless you have, 22 different cameras and all different angles following different players for every single play of the game. So as people have a chance to kind of break down what we saw with today's game, was it an inexperienced Browns team or was it a good Los Angeles Chargers team? I don't know. Leave your comments, put your thumbs up, say hello over here, say hello over here. And I only get some comments, so I don't know who's actually going to be in the room. But anyway, yeah, Daniel Vogan saying the run defense didn't show up for the Browns amongst about 40 other things. Absolutely. Finns just fumbled at the goal line. Bears get it back. Oh, Dolphins win in overtime, 31-28. I'm going to have to check that one out. But if Bears got it back, how did Miami win? All right, I got to look at this. Landry seemed out of it today. Was he injured? Was he sick? Was he in a funk? Are they having a dispute, a spat? I don't know. Back to the Browns trying to play football. Bach, 728. So that's Zach. Who's that? Bach, 728. What's up, Bach? All right, Daniel Vogan. Their D-line got to Baker often. They had his number today. Honestly, I don't see it that way. I think there was some of that. I'm not going to pretend that they didn't play a good game, and they didn't have some occasions of that. Yes, they did. But I think about half of what you saw was Baker having 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 6 seconds, and nothing was getting open for him. So he couldn't let go of the arrow because he didn't have a clear shot at anything. So he was holding it, and he got hit. He was waiting. He throws a really fast ball. But Baker didn't seem in it today. That ankle injury, that was a tough one. And I covered that more in our, we did a halftime show. So I'm kind of going to talk about things from halftime to the end of the game and kind of more gently touching on the rest of the game. You can kind of put these two segments together on YouTube after the fact, youtube.com/TheNewAmericanMedia. Baker Mayfield, 22 of 46, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. That second interception was a bad one. And Daniel Vogan saying that was a very good game plan. Well, it was. It was. I really think it was, man. Brian Golenberg saying, I think the Browns walked into this game too high and basically got their ass handed to them. Maybe. There might have been some of that. There were a lot of momentum killers. There were a lot of stupid penalties that took us out of good field position into bad field position. Things that kind of stalled drives, opportunities that we missed. We lost our swagger when we couldn't hit those 2 home run balls. I mean, look, if we hit those 2 home run balls, I forget when those misses were, but, add 14 more points to the first half, you got a 20-21 game right there. And imagine the swing in energy. That was a silent stadium today. That was a very quiet crowd. Because we didn't give them much to get excited about. How could the crowd possibly get big? How could the big crowd get loud? How could the home field advantage get big? I'm just going to abandon that phrase I was trying to put together. I don't think big is the word I was looking for, but home field advantage was not much of an advantage today. We couldn't sustain the momentum to do much of anything to either stop the Chargers or put our own points on the board. Stop the Chargers' offense or put our own points on the board against their defense. We didn't have a lot to get excited about. So you kind of have what you had. This was a rough game. I hope Schobert's okay. I hope Baker Mayfield's okay. And jeez. what was that, Streeter? Rod Streeter got his neck bent back like a Pez dispenser. I mean, that was a hit that could have killed him or paralyzed him. That was another one of our backup receivers we were trying to count on. I'm not surprised Baker and the boys didn't have a good passing attack today. Everybody was hurt. I mean, we're down Rod Streeter. We're down Willies. We're down Higgins. We traded Gordon. You know, you take 4 of your top 8 wide receivers off of your team. You know, but I think Duke Johnson showed us some stuff, and I don't think they used him enough. 4 catches for 73 yards. He was almost your leading receiver. You know, second most yards, right behind Ratley's 82 and above Njoku's 55. He had 4 catches. But that was on only 5 targets. Ratley had 8 targets, and Njoku had 12 targets. Callaway had 10 targets. Callaway connecting on only 2 of 9. That rhythm has got to sync up a lot better. You know, he won that starting job, and he's not delivering. Some of it's on him, some of it's on Baker, some of it's random, some of it's, I don't know. But I mean, on 9 targets, Landry caught 2 for 11 yards. It was almost not even existent. I mean, Ratley went from nowhere to your second most target. You got to get the ball to Duke Johnson, man. He's a playmaker. Line him up somewhere, get him the ball as a dump-off pass. Sneak the back out of the backfield, catch it underneath. Open up the field for some of the other plays. I know it's easy to say, but come on. You paid him. You like that he has talent. You see what he does in the open field with some space. Make him a receiver. We need people that can catch the ball, and we have this guy on our team. Freaking use Duke Johnson. Use him. I don't know how else to say this. 5 targets, you knew that we were down wide receivers, pass catchers. 5 targets. You gave more targets to Ratley, Njoku, Landry, Callaway. I mean, double. Callaway got double the targets with 9 yards of productivity on 2 catches. Duke had 4 catches for 73 yards. Give him the ball in space. His long play was 32 yards. That did lead the team. The only guy to have a quasi-playmaking play was Duke Johnson with a 32-yard pickup. Ratley's long was 27 and Njoku's was 22. So come on, some of this has got to go on our offense. Some of this has to go on Todd Haley. It just has to. Anyway, going back to some more of these notes here, I really hope Joe Schobert's okay. He has taken control of that middle linebacker position in a very important way, and he left with a hamstring issue, didn't come back. That's a concern. That's a big playmaker there. So between Baker sliding on that flag and Schobert going out in the middle, it's got me a little concerned. Bach is saying, well, at least our field goals look good. Hey, you know what? You're right. You're right. I don't want to go past that point too much. I covered it in the first segment, the halftime show that you can find here on YouTube. And I'm doing this live. I'm trying to figure out. I think we're going to end up going with Google Hangouts and then probably also have it going on YouTube and Facebook. Trying to figure out how to do this. By the way, please like the screen. Tap up some upvotes and thumbs ups, please, so it shows that the feed is active. But in the earlier segment, I was saying that, number one, Britton Colquitt might be our team MVP. So just pause on that and think about that. I mean, he's been consistently getting us fantastic field position. Now it's up to our defense to do something with it, of course. Greg saying, when I have some free AOL minutes we can use. Perfect. 1-800-COLLECT. Remember those commercials? Yeah, I mean, look, we hit both of our field goals, 2 for 2, from our kicker, Greg Joseph. You know, they weren't wobbly, wonky. They were solidly kicked, solid field goals. That was a big problem on our team the first couple weeks, a big area of concern. So if we were able to get rid of that deficiency, let's give our special teams a little bit of credit in this loss. 2 for 2 from field goal range. And then, I guess it's not special teams. It's a continuation of offense, but I would consider extra points to be special teams. Actually, that's a good question. Do you consider a 2-point conversion play? Do you consider those players to be a special teams unit? Is there an official answer? Is that a commonly understood answer? Is there an answer to that? If someone could help me look that up real quick. Is a 2-point conversion squad considered part of the offense or considered part of special teams? Because on the field goal unit, that is special teams. On the extra point, your kicking attempt is special teams. Why wouldn't your 2-point conversion attempt be special teams? Or do you consider part of the offense? If there's a simple answer to this and I just never took the time to think about it or hear somebody else talk about it, forgive me. Please tell me if this is settled science. But now I'm thinking about it. The Browns either way like to go for 2-point conversions, and we got a 2-point conversion. So if you were to consider a 2-point conversion squad to be part of special teams, you got to give our special teams coach some credit. Our punter is downing that ball within the 10-yard line, sometimes within the 5-yard line. That is killer. That is fantastic. That's awesome. We kicked 2 field goals and made 2 field goals. Last I checked, that's perfect. And our 2-point conversion squad got us 2 points in their 1 attempt. That's theoretically a perfect kickoff, a perfect special teams score. Now, obviously, that's not how it's going to grade out because you got to talk about, our punt return team. Punt return in that aspect of special teams, very disappointing still. Jabril Peppers putting the ball on the ground. You cannot do that. There was a nice return from our Peppers-led special teams squad on the punt. So some ups and downs there, but yeah, I don't know. At least our field goals look good, yes. I think our special teams look pretty good too. So it's something to consider. Zach, I got to learn who box 7... Zach, what does box 728 stand for? I don't even know what that means. But anyway, at least our field goals look good. Greg Moore saying it seems like Haley tries to get too creative sometimes. Yeah. It does feel that way that he almost forces some trick plays, the flea flicker. That he forces some plays in there. I don't mind it because they're all football plays. If you execute your blocks up front properly, you have a chance of any weird running play of working. If you execute better than the other team does. If it's a passing play, same thing. So it comes down to execution, and I think what's going to start happening, at least what's theoretically supposed to start happening with Todd Haley is, as the season progresses and people learn what Baker Mayfield's tendencies are, we can start leaving behind a breadcrumb trail of enough weird plays that the other defense has to be prepared for us to run. So it takes reps away from the normal plays that they're used to seeing. So, look, it's a long game. It's something that I think we're going to be able to get better at as we learn who's in our lineup. No Rod Streeter, no Rashad Higgins, no Derek Willis, no Josh Gordon. That sucks to say out loud still. You know what I'm saying. So anyway, yeah, does Haley get too creative sometimes? Yeah, perhaps. Daniel Vogan saying it's still early and the future is bright. We need some of those receivers on the trading block. How about Amari Cooper? How about him? Are the Raiders about to blow up that whole team? The whole team. And go with a massive youth movement of capital, draft picks to kind of gut the team in the next year or two and then have a rebirth in Las Vegas. They signed him for 10 years. It would not surprise me to see John Gruden have negotiated that deal and said, look, Khalil Mack is our biggest asset magnet. We're going to start with Khalil Mack, and if we can get at least 2 first-round draft picks for him, we're going to gut this whole team. I'm going to move on from Derek Carr. Let our old running backs go their way. Maybe trade Amari Cooper while you can get something for him. Amari's one of those kind of hot-cold kind of guys. He really burst on the scene and then just kind of, I don't know. The Raiders are a tough team to follow. Jimmy, our commissioner, knows that. What's up, Jimmy? Greg Moore saying Gruden's going to bring Brad Johnson back. Oh, who ended up winning that game? Brad Johnson. Oh, okay, the Falcons held on against Tampa Bay. All right, well, look, I'm going to go through the league real quick. Just want to make a few extra points that I had jotted down. Our edge containment had been terrible with Garrett and the rest of our defensive team with the middle linebackers, outside linebackers. We didn't have containment that whole damn time, setting the edge. It wasn't good. So I hope Schaubert's okay. Our edge containment was really bad. The thought of, oh no, we suck again, that meme, that came up. I think Danielle posted that in the Unhappy Hour Facebook group. I don't think we suck again. I think we got beat soundly today, and it's gonna calm us down, humble us just a bit. Maybe there is some truth to what Brian was saying, that they walked, what Brian Golenberg was saying, that the Browns walked in high and got their ass handed to them. Maybe that is what happened. I saw a great route and a great catch by Ratley, and he was hit hard. So he ended up playing again, but man, that was a concussion type. The way he came down on his back and his helmet, that was a hard hit. So I don't know if he got a concussion on that or if he did not. But he might be banged up this week. But it was a nice run. It was a nice catch. It was good to see that, the youngster could make a big play when he was asked to do so. So that was a good thing. Another bad Baker Mayfield interception. Just, I don't know. Maybe he reached a point where he couldn't make anything else happen, so he started trying the risky stuff. I don't know. Or maybe it just wasn't a good game by Baker Mayfield. Or maybe Baker Mayfield's never going to be any good. Time is going to tell. I'm sold on Baker. The whole team looked terrible today. I can't pin this on any one player. Landry with a really quiet game. And this is the first game that we actually got whooped. This is the first game that we actually got whooped. And, maybe the Browns needed that. A little wake-up call. No more overtime games. Not we're good enough to beat with. You're good enough to play with anybody. You're good enough to beat anybody. You could run the table and win the Super Bowl. And, yeah, we got this. Well, you got to have a team with enough depth and repetition so that you can step in when needed. We had some key injuries to some key players, and we've had that wide receiving core is hurting us big time right now. Now, I'm not saying go out and get Dez, but look, back to Daniel Vogan's point about Amari Cooper. I mean, what, are they going to give us a Josh Gordon deal? Are they going to say a 7th-round pick, a conditional 5th-round pick for Amari Cooper? Yeah, I'd move a 5th-round pick for Amari Cooper. I mean, are they going to try to get Khalil Mack assets back with multiple first-round picks? No, I'm good. Nope, I would not do that. We have enough other areas on this team that need to be fixed. You can't be trading future assets for that. But yeah, I would trade a 5th-round pick. Greg Moore is saying, I think the Chargers are just that much better. Hey, there's an argument to be made in favor of that concept, Greg. The Chargers are a good team. They're 4-2. You are who your record says you are. We're a 2-3-1 team. Let that sink in. Get 2 games back or game and a half back. Chargers are good. Chargers are good. We had no answer for Gordon. Melvin Gordon. No answer at all. That was distressing. That was demoralizing. That was tough. But they might be that much better. Anyhow, I'm going to run across the league real quick, tell you what's going on. If you have any fantasy football, how's your fantasy football team doing today? Recommend me a site where I can go to and see real-time fantasy football scores so I can tell you now who the top 5 performers were across the league. I know we're only halfway through the games, but if there's a good site for that, I'd love to do that. Because now, since our team lost, let's check around the league. In overtime, the Dolphins defeated the Chicago Bears 31-28, and that's, of course, going to be with the backup quarterback, Brock Osweiler. Oh, here, let me actually click on these games. Why don't I do that? Trubisky, 316 with 3 touchdowns and interception. Osweiler, 380 with 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. The Dolphins win. Dolphins go to 4-2 on the year. Chicago's still at 3-2. You got the Los Angeles Rams, the 5-0 undefeated Rams, up 13-3 over Denver. Todd Gurley with 88 yards and a touchdown already, with 10 minutes to go in the second. Jacksonville, Dallas out to an early 10-0 lead. The 3-2 Jags are being blanked so far. Rushing game has a little bit of T.J. Yeldon, 4 carries for 16, and Jamal Charles getting some action signed off the mean city streets today. This week, rather. Dallas with a touchdown run from Dak Prescott, for all you fantasy viewers out there. Baltimore, up 7-0 on Tennessee. Flacco with a touchdown pass to Crabtree with 3 receptions and 52 yards. End of the first quarter, Coming up tonight, Kansas City taking on New England. Undefeated 5-0 Kansas City Chiefs taking on the New England Patriots, 3-2. Of course, Philly defeated the Giants. The Eli Manning-led, for now, New York Football Giants, 13-34. Philly gets the win. In other early action today, I don't know why it scrolled through the games that way. Houston Texans took down the Buffalo Bills. Peterman came in and replaced Allen with an injury. We'll keep our eyes peeled on that one. Houston moves up to 3-3. I don't know. Deshaun Watson, a very pedestrian, 15-25 for 177, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Pretty pedestrian. Touchdown pass to DeAndre Hopkins. Remember, there was that whole thing about Carson Wentz and Deshaun Watson. Oh, the Browns lost out on 2, LeBron James type game-changing players. They could be the best of all time. People are really quick to say things like, game-changing players. Deshaun Watson has reverted, after that injury. He's not the same player. Or the league has figured him out, or a combination of both. So who knows? That's why you play the long game here. We had a tough loss today, but I'm not going to start selling on Baker Mayfield. I would be buying some better receivers. I don't think we have bad running backs. I think Duke needs the ball more. Give Duke the ball. He's been there forever. He knows that. Get him the ball. So I don't know. When you think about what the Browns gave up to get these first-round draft picks that got us Denzel Ward, that got us Baker Mayfield, that got us Myles Garrett. You had to trade players. You had to prolong gratification, a postponed gratification for something better later. So I don't know. I'm just curious to watch Deshaun Watson and see how his career develops. All right, moving on. Atlanta improves their record to 2-4, barely escaping a 2-3 Tampa Bay team. Atlanta wins 34-29. Matt Ryan went for 354 and 3 touchdowns to no interceptions. Jameis Winston, in his return, throws for 395, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. You almost forget that guy's got some skills. Freeman's still out. Tevin Coleman, only 35 yards rushing. I don't know. I mean, that Atlanta team was somebody you really expected was going to be going places after that Super Bowl. But there can be a hangover. Look, the Cleveland Indians, we thought we were the team in 2016, took it to Game 7, took it to extra innings. Bowed out early in the first round of the Yankees last year and bowed out early. Just got swept, got demoralized. The Cleveland Indians postseason sweep against the Astros is very similar to how this Chargers game felt. Very similar. We weren't really... It was close for a while, and then it just wasn't close, and it was over. It was demoralized. You didn't even really have much of an opportunity to get excited. Those were occasions where you got beat by a better team, and that's what it feels like. So I don't know. I don't know what to say about the Falcons, where they're going to be going in their team's future, but you can go from worst to first in this league. You really can. You know what I mean? A lot of teams' fortunes can change really quick. Oh, let's see over here in Minnesota. The 3-2-1 Vikings defeat the 1-5 Arizona Cardinals 27-17. Rookie Josh Rosen goes for 240, no touchdowns, 1 interception. But not too much different. Threw for more yards. Kirk Cousins only had 233 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Murray and Cousins, rushing touchdowns. David Johnson with the rushing touchdown. For the Cardinals, Adam Thielen, 123 yards on 11 catches, 1 touchdown there. This one got close at the end, but as regulation wound down, the New York Football Jets, even their record at 3-3 behind Sam Darnold, went for 280, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Pulled out a win against the 1-5 Colts, the Indianapolis Colts. Andrew Luck, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 301 yards. I've heard that Indianapolis Colts might be a destination for Le'Veon Bell to get traded to. I heard it about the Jets, too. 109 yards of rushing between 29 combined carries of Powell and Crowell today. Pretty pedestrian. And Mack went for 89 on the Colts. Washington Redskins defeat the Carolina Panthers 23-17. Both teams now sit with an even record of 3-2. Alex Smith threw for 2 touchdowns on 163 yards passing. Cam Newton, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 275 yards. Adrian Peterson with another 97-yard game. That guy, I didn't see it coming. I didn't know that Adrian Peterson had much left in his tank. I got to tell you that much. Davis with a touchdown catch for the Redskins. Same with Richardson. Touchdown catch for Funches. Yeah, and over here to this Oakland Seahawks. Seahawks improved to 3-3, putting a whooping on the Oakland Raiders, 27-3. Raiders fall to 1-5. Derek Carr, 142 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Russell Wilson, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Not a lot of rushing. Lynch leading the Raiders with 45 yards. Carson leading with 59 yards. Rashad Penny's starting to get up there, 9 carries for 43. But anyhow. Yeah, I think when we do these shows in the future, I'm going to go ahead and kind of split up. I got to find a good way to do the fantasy show. I love covering the games that way. So we're figuring this out, guys. We're testing the format. All right, the Pittsburgh Steelers defeat the Cincinnati Bengals 28-21. Bengals drop to 4-2. Pittsburgh improves to 3-2-1. Big Ben throws for 369 and 1 touchdown. Andy Dalton throws for 229 and 2 touchdowns. No interceptions. James Conner, 19 carries, 111 yards, 2 touchdowns. What do you do with Le'Veon Bell? Do you bring him back? Do you just trade him? Good riddance. We're getting production out of this guy. Antonio Brown with a touchdown. 2 touchdown catches for Boyd on the Bengals. All right, and then finally on Monday night, it's going to be the 49ers versus the Packers. There you have it. And that is the week's recap. So that's what we got. The Cleveland Browns got whooped today. It hurts. Ohio State won, and they jumped up to number 2 in the poll, which is pretty cool. So if you're a football fan, it's nice. It's nice to see good football being played in the state of Ohio. It really is nice. Ohio deserves to have good football. We're kind of the cradle of football. This should be ingrained in our culture. This should be a part of our history, our nation's story. Football is more than a sport. I think it connects communities. It brings us together as family, friends. And I finished a documentary, our first full-length documentary called Football Equals Family, the story of the Cleveland Browns' perfect season parade. I have left the second edited version up on YouTube. You can see it now, youtube.com/TheNewAmericanMedia. It's called Football Equals Family, the story of the Cleveland Browns' perfect season parade. I'm going to make another round of edits and then probably properly launch it. I've kind of just made it available for a preview. I don't know. I've never made a full-length documentary before, but I have now, and I'm pretty proud of it. I like it. It still makes me laugh. I followed Chris McNeil. He goes by reflog_18. That's golfer, spelled backwards. Reflog_18 on Twitter. Cleveland funny man who organized the perfect winless season parade last year. We had 5,000 people marching a zero around First Energy Stadium last year. -degree wind chill to show love for a team that couldn't even win a game. So it was a mock parody parade and protest. And in the course of it, we talked to a lot of people telling them their stories about their glory days, the times that they spent with their friends and with their family. And that football is bigger than just the game that you're playing. Football is family. I mean, if somebody's going to be rocking a shirt like this in 2018, you're sending your beacon out to the universe to attract more of that. And nobody's had a tougher past couple of decades as a professional sports fan than the Cleveland Browns football fan. So I flew back in from Los Angeles to go to the parade. I stayed with Chris McNeil from check-in at the beginning of the day. I drove into from the pregame to the stadium, rode in with him, followed him around, went to an interview he did with Rovers, Morning Glory. On the bus, recorded that conversation. Went outside, got all the floats, the jokes, the live marching bands. And then ended up on Chris McNeil's family party bus as they threw out Excedrin hats. Excedrin was a sponsor for it because of the headaches that they caused the Browns fans. So they're throwing out Excedrin stocking caps. It was kind of the opposite of Mardi Gras. And then I kind of wrapped it up. A lot of stories, a lot of smiles, a lot of wacky memories of losses, frustration at the ownership for allowing it to get this bad. So there's a lot of humor. There's definitely some frustration from a loyal fan base of the Cleveland Browns that have been doing this for a long time. So it's a project that puts a lot of components together. I'm really happy with it. I hope you check it out. Version, 1.2? Like I said, is still available. It's on youtube.com/TheNewAmericanMedia. I will make one more round of edits and then probably properly launch it, whatever that means. I don't know. But check it out. I would appreciate it. I'm going to wrap it up for today. Browns lose. This is the first game we got whooped. So, all things considered, it's not the worst in the world. But I'll talk with you again. I'm not sure if I can do this next week. I'll tell you more about that later. But we will be doing this more regularly during the games. You can count on that, okay? To be continued. Go Browns. Peace.
It's the Unhappy Hour.